Let's cut across to the latest news break that is just coming in. Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge right now locked in a meeting with Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. Meeting him is also Rahul Gandhi as well as Sukhwinder Randhawa, who is the chief of the Congress, who is in charge of Rajasthan Congress. Three of them locked in conversation. It's a big meeting which has been planned. Today is going to be the penultimate day in terms of decision on what goes down between Sachin Pilot as well as Mallikarjun Kharge. Will be deciding on the fate of Sachin Pilot as well as if he can continue to work with Ashok Gehlot or not. Earlier on, there was an indication that Ashok Gehlot would be meeting Sachin Pilot as well together with Mr. Kharge, but that hasn't quite happened. They're meeting separately. At first, Ashok Gehlot went to meet Mr. Kharge. He was joined by Sukhwinder Randhawa, who's in charge of the Congress Rajasthan. Later on, Rahul Gandhi has also reached Ms. Mallikarjun Kharge's residence. However, there is no Sachin Pilot right now. Sachin Pilot would be coming in later. Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge has openly stated that a decision would be made on what is going down in terms of Rajasthan. The Congress would want both Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot to be placated, it seems. That's an indication that we are getting in. But Ashok Gehlot has been very clear. He's laid the ground when it comes down to that he, in no uncertain terms, is ready to work with Sachin Pilot. He's mocked him, he's ridiculed him. This time, earlier on, before going into the meeting, he practically said that you can't get any post even if you demand for it. More so, Sachin Pilot, who finished his yatra from Ajmer to Jaipur with a rally in which he has warned the Congress High Command that he is going to launch a nationwide stir, a statewide agitation in Rajasthan as well on his three demands, if those are not met. Well, a lot hangs in the balance for Sachin Pilot, for the Congress High Command there. A decision will need to be made today. My colleague Maushmi Singh is joining us live from location. Maushmi, get us up to speed. We are given to understand Sachin Pilot yet to come in. However, Mr. Kharge, the party president, in conversation with Rahul Gandhi and Congress in charge Sukhwinder Randhawa and of course Ashok Gehlot on the fate of Sachin Pilot. What's in store?
Preeti, I can tell you that this meeting has been going on for more than 1.5 hours, and at 10 Rajaji Marg we saw first Ashok Gehlot arrive, and after some time Rahul Gandhi also came in and Sukhwinder Randhawa thereon was the last to arrive. Whether Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot will be made to sit across the table and talk it over is the big question, but Sachin has still not arrived and the discussion, I'm told, is going on. My sense is that as far as the leadership is concerned, they do have this in mind that there has to be a truce that needs to be worked out. There has to be an accommodation of what Sachin Pilot wants, whether a formula is worked out where his supporters are accommodated in the top rung of the government, or one of his key supporters or leaders is placed at the top rung of the party organization is the question, because Ashok Gehlot, if you look at his body language, the statement that he made at Delhi airport, it doesn't look that he is ready to blink, and that's the icebreaker, the truce that needs to be bought as far as the leadership is concerned, because this will be the second time round that the leadership, the party high command, will be put through a litmus test. First time round it was in Jaipur when the CLP meeting was to take place, and the party high command was shown a thumbs down, and this is the second time round when Kharge, Rahul Gandhi are sitting and talking across.
Maushmi, you know, there seems to be a sense that for Sachin Pilot, he wants definitive clarity on which way will the Congress ask him to go, because he's, you know, been hanging for a while. What we are given to understand, he was not being entertained by the Congress High Command. He had his back towards the wall. He became the voice of the anti-incumbent where Rajasthan is concerned. He doesn't have much time if he needs to exercise himself politically, though he would see he would hope that he's accommodated by the Congress. But it seems, Maushmi, what's your sense that he wants clarity this time, whichever way it is?
I think, Preeti, you're right there, because what you said is that Sachin Pilot has been waiting for a long while. He took out that yatra, and even after that, and even before that, remember in Bharat Jodo Yatra he was out, then he was told to wait after the Bharat Jodo Yatra finished in Rajasthan, and then after that the Raipur conclave, and there were endless dates that were given to him. So, and then the top leadership stopped picking his phone. So that's the way Sachin sees it, that it's now or never. But I can tell you that even in Hindi there's a kahavat, gehra kuआं और खाई, एक तरफ खाई है और दूसरी तरफ गहरा कुआं. So you have to choose between the devil and the deep sea. The ropes have already been burnt as far as Ashok Gehlot and Sachin are concerned. They've had an eye for an eye, and now, you know, the road to recovery or road to back to normalcy is going to be ridden with a lot of prickly thorns for Sachin Pilot. So it's not going to be easy to make a comeback to the helm of affairs in Rajasthan unless he has the backing of Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge. And with Ashok Gehlot seeming to be very rigid about his opinion about Sachin Pilot, the thaw in the relationship is really difficult. Only a temporary truce can be brokered, I think, Preeti, till the elections are won or till the election results are out. Just forget all your animosity and fight for the party.
You know, many would suggest, Maushmi, it's too late for that, because the path to recovery for Sachin Pilot back in Rajasthan unit will pass through the pride of Ashok Gehlot. And, will that work is a very big question mark. Many suggest, there's too much water under the bridge for that to happen. But what will happen, my colleague Maushmi and Rahul Gautam would be getting you the latest. Maushmi, we'll keep coming back to you. Appreciate you joining us. With that, we're going to move on, but we're going to revisit the story. Sachin Pilot still not there. Earlier on, it was supposed to be a conversation of Mr. Kharge, Sachin Pilot, Ashok Gehlot. Not happening. They're meeting separately with, of course, the party high command here, the proverbial president of the Congress, Mallikarjun Kharge. With that, I want to quickly shift focus, viewers, to a big story that we've been tracking very closely. And that is on what went down yesterday at Jantar Mantar. The day India celebrated democracy. Dragged, detained, charged. Slapped with FIRs, Section 147, guilty of writing. Section 149, unlawful assembly. Section 186, obstructing a public servant from discharging duty. Section 188, disobedience to order duly promulgated by a public servant. Section 332, voluntarily causing hurt to deter a public servant from dispensing his duty. Section 353, criminal force to deter public servant from discharge of his duty. The wrestlers also charged under Section 3 of the Prevention of Damage to Public Property Act. The alleged victims thrown out of protest site Jantar Mantar. The alleged accused 1 kilometer away in attendance inside the new parliament, as India marked a moment in history both inside and outside parliament. And then an organized toolkit kicks in to defame our wrestlers. Morphed images go viral on social media. Don't take their word for the gospel truth, but what of due process of law? 30 days and counting, the dangle for justice continues. All right, so, we're going to begin this edition of news with that very question that we posed in what we just showed you. Many of us are looking at and raising a lot of questions. Why is it that the wrestlers only chose the day where democracy was being celebrated with the inauguration of the new parliament? Of course, it was a momentous, historic, a happy occasion for us. But it was also a moment for the wrestlers who for 36 days have gone unheard to exercise what is their right, which is to peaceful protest. On the other hand, there are many who say that politically motivated, especially where the wrestlers are concerned. There are elements which many would call our Andolan GV elements involved in their protest. They might be, is what possibly, a lot of people who are supporting the wrestlers say. But what about the basic due process of law? If there is a POXO case against somebody, against Brij Bhushan Sharan, who's a BJP MP, how is it that he found himself on this historic day and accused under POXO, celebrating the momentous occasion inside Parliament, while outside Parliament what you saw, viewers, went down? Once again, we will begin with what we just said. Don't take their word for the gospel truth. Don't believe them. But do think about the fact whether due course of law, due process of law was followed in this case. Many of you have gone ahead, especially on social media, been horrified by images of these wrestlers smiling in buses coming in. The fact is, those images that you see are fake. And the reason is because a word that many of us have now been very accustomed to. There is a very active ToolKit at play who is trying to circulate and viral these images, making you believe that this is all politically motivated. Again, we will cut across to our guests with one question. Do not take their word for the gospel truth, viewers, but do think whether due process of law followed or not. And an example in that, it took them over 10 days, the intervention of the Supreme Court, to file an FIR of sexual molestation where 7 girls had given their testimony against Brij Bhushan Sharan, who's a BJP MP. It took 7 hours for the Delhi police to file all the charges that we relayed to you against these 3 wrestlers and the organizers of this protest. So, process of law followed very quickly at one end. On the other, the Supreme Court had to step in. I want to cut across to our panelists this evening. Joining me is Vikram Singh, security expert, former DGP, Jagmati Sangwan activist, Krishna Punia. She's an Olympian. We also want to give a disclaimer. Krishna Punia comes from the Congress party. We tried to get in touch with the 3 wrestlers who've been spearheading the protest. There have been many other wrestlers as well, but all 3 of them have said that they want to take their time to decide on what would be their next course of action. जगमती सांगवान से शुरू करेंगे. जगमती जी, आप भी कल थी वहाँ पर जब ये प्रोटेस्ट हो रहा था. आप के खिलाफ भी एक FIR है क्योंकि अवैध लोग 3 के तो नाम लिए गए हैं. आप बाकी के जो लोग हैं उनमें से एक होंगी, तो हो सकता है कल आपका नाम भी FIR में आ जाए. पर जगमती सांगवान जी, ये बताइए, जो अब एक चर्चा हो रही है जगमती जी कि वही दिन क्यों चुना गया जिस दिन नए पार्लियामेंट का उद्घाटन था, वही दिन क्यों चुना गया? क्योंकि अब कहा जा रहा है ये आंदोलन जीवियों का वो बन गया है.
देखिए, जिस दिन संसद भवन का उद्घाटन था वो दिन क्यों चुना गया, इसके पीछे तो बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग आर्ग्यूमेंट हो सकता है कि जो संसद है उसके द्वारा जो महिलाओं की सुरक्षा के लिए जो कानून बनाए जा रहे हैं, जो इनेक्ट किए जा रहे हैं, if those are not being implemented in their spirit and women are being not being protected with the help of those laws, then people have a right to say their feelings, to express their concerns, and what so if there was inauguration of new Central Vista building over there, but what was the harm if women could have sit over there and deliberated on their safety security issues, and the commitment of this present dispensation which came in power with the slogan बहुत हुए महिलाओं पर अत्याचार, अब लाओ बीजेपी सरकार. Now what is their commitment for women, those who are facing the sexual harassment at workplace? It is zero. So in a way, both the things could have gone peacefully also, because the agitators had already assured the police and the different agencies that this protest will be completely peaceful or disciplined, as it has been since 1.5 months. It has been going on in that spirit only.
पर देखिए जगमती जी, जो पुलिस कह रही है, और मैं सवाल इसीलिए आपसे और कर रही हूं क्योंकि आप भी वहां थी, अब दिल्ली पुलिस कह रही है देखिए हम सबको पता है क्या हुआ था किसान आंदोलन में, इतना ऐतिहासिक दिन था, हमने 3-4 बार बोला गया रेसलर्स को, जो वहां पर आप भी थी, बहुत सारे लोग थे, बोला गया कि देखिए आगे मत जाइएगा, हमने बोला कि हम आपका बहुत मान करते हैं, तभी भी आपने उनका उल्लंघन किया, आपने बैरिकेड तोड़े, तो उनका तो ये कहना है। जगमती जी, क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप?
देखिए, उनका ये कहना जो है वो वाजिब नहीं है, क्योंकि मैं वहां पे 9 बजे पहुंची सुबह जंतर मंतर पे, और
जी।
जंतर मंतर वो जगह है जहां पे आपको अपने जो भी डाइसेंट है उसको एक्सप्रेस करने के लिए एक जगह असाइन की हुई है देश के द्वारा, सरकार के द्वारा। तो वहां पे 9 बजे मैं पहुंची, तो उसी टाइम 8-10 पुलिस वाले चारों तरफ से आके मुझे इतनी बुरी तरह से घेरा गया, धकेला गया और ले जाके पार्लियामेंट थाने में छोड़ दिया गया, जबकि कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं किया जा रहा था। और जहां तक रेसलर्स का सवाल है, वो पहले से एक बार नहीं अनेक बार पुलिस के साथ बातचीत में ये क्लैरिफाई कर चुके थे कि हम किसी भी तरह का उल्लंघन नहीं करेंगे कानून का, जहां पुलिस रोकेगी वहीं पे बैठकर हम अपनी बातचीत जो है वो करेंगे, और 1-1.5 घंटे की वो बातचीत होगी, और वो कंक्लूड करके हम अपने प्रोग्राम को अनुशासित तरीके से खत्म करेंगे। और ये दोनों चीजें अगर रीच किया जाता रेसलर्स को टाइमली, उनके साथ बातचीत करते कोई नेता भी, बड़े लोग भी, तो दोनों चीजें अच्छे तरीके से की जा सकती थी। लेकिन दिक्कत ये है यहाँ पे कि ये जो सेक्सुअल एक्सप्लॉइटेशन है, सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट्स जो है, ये इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज्ड है, और इनको पूरा प्रोटेक्शन दी जा रही है, और इनको डर ये है कि एक ईंट हिली ब्रजभूषण शरण जैसी तो पूरी दीवार भर भरा के गिर जाएगी। इसलिए वो किसी भी तरह का प्रोटेस्ट, किसी भी तरह का सवाल, किसी भी तरह की आवाजें जो है उनके लिए बर्दाश्त करना मुश्किल हो रहा है। समस्या ये है यहाँ पे इस देश के अंदर आज के दिन जो।
जगमती जी, आप हमारे से बने रहिए। आई जस्ट वांट टू कट अक्रॉस टू विक्रम सिंह, सिक्योरिटी एक्सपर्ट, फॉर्मर डीजीपी. Mr. Singh, you know, for somebody who's a former man of the law, I want to ask you, would you reckon that the police was right in cracking down in the force that they did where the protesters, the wrestlers were concerned? Number one. Number two, the question that the protesters and the wrestlers raised themselves, Mr. Singh, and that is, it took you over 7 days and the intervention of the Supreme Court to register an FIR against a man accused of sexual violence. On the other hand, it took you less than 7 hours to slap multiple FIRs against these very wrestlers.
Preeti, may I submit with the greatest of respect that the grievance redressal committee was not in position as per the prevention of sexual harassment at workplace. And in the absence of that, it was only after the Supreme Court intervention that the FIR was lost. Once the statements were recorded, the police have no option but to arrest Brijbhushan Saran Singh. That did not happen. Under these circumstances, the total sympathy is with the wrestlers, because Brijbhushan Saran Singh today, as on the basis of evidence and the statements recorded, has no option either to surrender before the court or the police to arrest him. Nothing like this happened. Now, I would not fault the Delhi police, because मेरी संसद, मेरा धर्म, I believe my parliament, my pride, that was there. And then the security of the Prime Minister is non-negotiable. Perhaps that day it would have been appropriate for the wrestlers to call off their agitation for those particular 8 hours. Those 8 hours of, and any police officer worth his uniform would never allow any encroachment on the security scenario and the environment of the VVIP. Therefore, the wrestlers would have been well advised to call off their agitation for those 8 hours. The sympathy was with them, the sympathy is with them, but the security of the Prime Minister, even for the wrestlers, I'm sure, is non-negotiable. But to slap all these sections on them, to make on-the-spot arrest, and to take them and to say that we let them off before sunset, well, it doesn't cut any ice. I would have been very happy that if a personal dialogue, they could have said, and we have done it in the past, please postpone and call off your agitation for the next 12 hours. Please return to where you are, as they say in the parade, jaise the ki dasha mein aa jaiye, and they would have come back to jaise the ki dasha, and the agitation would have begun. But any police officer who has been trained, and also it is like a reflex action that any threat to a VIP, then the entire might of the administration comes down and ensures that the VIP goes back unhindered and unharmed. To that extent, I would say
Right.
the wrestlers would have been well advised to call up their agitation for just those 8 hours.
राइट कृष्णा पुनिया जी, ये सवाल जो डीजीपी, जो फॉर्मर डीजीपी हैं हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, उन्होंने उठाया। देखिए, वो तो कह रहे हैं पूरी सहानुभूति है रेसलर्स के साथ, जो एफआईआर उन पर हुई गलत हुई, पर कह रहे हैं कि 8 घंटे तक जब वो पूरा समारोह पार्लियामेंट में हो रहा था तो ये प्रोटेस्ट रोक देना चाहिए था। आज कर लेते, कल कर लेते, उसके बाद कर लेते।
मैं यहाँ पे प्रीति जी कहना चाहूंगी आपको, प्रोटेस्ट चलते लगभग 30 दिन से ऊपर हो चुके हैं। सरकार के लिए ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट अगर समय था, जब संसद का जब उद्घाटन हो रहा था, तो सरकार को ये भी सोचना चाहिए था कि ये वो होनहार बेटियां जिन्होंने देश को प्राइड किया है, जिन्होंने देश के लिए मेडल जीते हैं, राष्ट्रगान बजवाया है, और 30 दिन से ऊपर का समय हो चुका है और इन्होंने बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से 23rd को आई थिंक ये इंडिया गेट पे आई थिंक जो प्रोटेस्ट किया था, कैंडल मार्च किया था, बहुत शांत, तो वो बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से था। मैं खुद वहाँ विजिट किया था और मैंने जो हमारे रेसलर हैं उनकी तरफ से जो सुना, जो इन्होंने अपना हेजिटेशन मूव किया, उससे पहले साफ तरीके से जितने भी वहां पर उनके जो साथी आए हुए थे उनको समर्थन देने के लिए कि कहीं पे भी आपके साथ पुलिस आपको रोकने की कोशिश करती है तो हमें वहीं बैठकर अपना प्रोटेस्ट करना है। और उस दिन का वाकया मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहूंगी कि जब इंडिया गेट के लिए चलना था तो इस तरीके से बसेज लगा दी गई, इस तरीके से गाड़ियां लगा दी गई कि इतने लोग एक साथ जाएंगे। परमिशन के साथ जा रहे थे वो लोग, परमिशन इन लोगों ने ली थी, बावजूद उसके धरना जो अपना जंतर मंतर है वहां से निकलना इन लोगों के लिए मुश्किल था। और जब वहां उस समय इतनी मुश्किलात थी, तो मुझे लगता है कि जब पीएम का अगर प्रोग्राम है तो पुलिस फोर्स कितनी रही होगी, किस तरीके से अड़चने आई होंगी, उनको पार्लियामेंट तक जाने की तो सोचने ही नहीं दिया। जैसे जगवंती जी बता रही हैं कि 9 बजे वो आई हैं और तुरंत आकर उन्हें गिरफ्तार कर लिया गया, तो जब कोई ऐसी बातें ही नहीं थी।
उन्होंने 9 बजे गिरफ्तार की जी सुबह
जी, और प्रोग्राम जो है वो चलता रहा है, किसी तरीके की कोई उसमें बाधा नहीं आई। उससे पहले ही खिलाड़ियों को उठा लिया गया, जबकि ऐसी कोई बातें नहीं थी। और ये बहुत इनोसेंट लोग हैं, ये बहुत सुलझे हुए हैं, ये बहुत कठिनाइयों से निकले हुए वो एथलीट हैं जो मान मर्यादा को समझते हैं। और इन्होंने कहीं पर भी कोई स्टेटमेंट इन 30-35 दिनों में आप देखेंगे कि कहीं पे भी कोई स्टेटमेंट गलत नहीं की। अपने प्रोटेस्ट को बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से चलाने की इन्होंने हमेशा बात रखी है। और इसी बीच में जब इन्हें लगा कि इनके जो प्रोटेस्ट चल रहा है उसे खराब करने की कोशिश की जा रही है या गलत दिशा देने की कोशिश की जा रही है, उसमें भी इन्होंने कहा कि हमारी ये जिम्मेदारी नहीं रहेगी और जो भी गलत लोग इसमें आए वो खुद उसके लिए रहेंगे, इनके द्वारा इस तरीके की कोई बात नहीं हुई। दूसरा मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि लोकतंत्र में सबसे बड़ा जो लोकतंत्र का मंदिर है वो संसद है, जिसमें लोगों के लिए हम नियम बनाते हैं, कायदे बनाते हैं, उनकी सुरक्षा की बात करते हैं और देश से सारी नीतियां कानून बनते हैं। आज हमारे देश में ये होनहार बेटियां, एक तरफ से तो हम करते हैं कि हमें वर्षों पुरानी जो बेड़ियां हैं वो तोड़नी है, कितनी जद्दोजहद से समाज से लड़के ये बेटियां इस लेवल तक पहुंची हैं। और मुझे नहीं लगता कि इतना आसान होगा जंतर मंतर पे बैठना। सबसे पहले परिवार से ये लड़ी होगी।
जी आसान नहीं है, पर वो सवाल अभी भी उठाया जा रहा है, बहुत लोग उठा रहे हैं कि कल ही क्यों ऐसा दिन क्यों पिक किया कि जिस दिन संसद का एक बहुत बड़ा समारोह था।
35 डेज ऑलमोस्ट हो चुके हैं। सरकार रूलिंग पार्टी बीजेपी की सरकार है, उन्हें सोचना चाहिए था हमारे देश के लिए। अगर ऐतिहासिक दिन आ रहा है तो इन बच्चों का
जगमती जी, मैं शो क्लोज करने से पहले आपसे एक सवाल करूंगी, क्योंकि आप बहुत जुड़ी हुई हैं इनसे, एक बहुत बड़ी एक्टिविस्ट हैं हरियाणा से। आगे का प्रतिक्रिया क्या है रेसलर्स की, क्या करना चाहेंगे आगे?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो जो पुलिस है जिसने राइटिंग की धाराएं लगाई है उनके ऊपर दंगा फैलाने की धारा, ये विक्रम जी भी यहाँ पे अभी बात रख रहे थे, वो बहुत कंसर्न जाहिर कर रहे थे सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी ऑफ प्राइम मिनिस्टर। तो हमारे जो ये कुश्ती पहलवान हैं, हमारे भी उनके प्रति सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न्स है थोड़े, तो वो ये राइटिंग की धारा लगाना इनके ऊपर, वो बेचारे तो वहां से शुरू भी नहीं हुए थे तब उनको
जी,
पकड़ा
तो
गया।
क्यों लगाई
ये
गई? जी
हाँ, ये जो है इनको इमीडिएटली ड्रॉप किया जाना चाहिए, और जो
जी
उनकी छवि खराब करने की कोशिशें की जा रही है, पहले
जी
भी इस सरकार
जी
के डिफरेंट एजेंसीज ने ऐसी कोशिशें की हैं, जो आंदोलनकारी हैं उनको जो है कभी आतंकवादी बताएंगे, कल इनकी जो इमेजेस दिखाई गई कि वो
वो
लड़कियां
खराब
जो
जी, वो हमने वो फैक्ट चेक हमने दिखाया था जी, हमने दोनों तस्वीरें दिखाई हैं जी।
हाँ,
ये
टेम्पर्ड है वो तो ये
टेम्पर्ड है
सारा,
जी।
हाँ, वो जो किया जा रहा है सबसे पहले तो ये रोका जाना चाहिए,
चलिए,
और एक
देखिए
विश्वास का माहौल जो है इस देश के अंदर, सरकार की जिम्मेवारी है वो करना, क्योंकि
जी
इनकी हालत ये है इस सरकार की कि जिंदगी का झंडवा फिर भी घमंडवा, जीरो परफॉर्मेंस है
जी, चलिए मैं अभी आई हैव ऑल द जी जगवती जी, बस इतना ही वक्त है, शो खत्म करना होगा। बहुत शुक्रिया कि आप दोनों हमसे जुड़े। ऑल्सो विक्रम सिंह, बहुत थैंक यू सर फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। विद दैट वी आर गोइंग टू एंड द शो विद ओनली विद व्हाट वी बिगैन द शो विद। डोंट टेक द वर्ड फॉर द गॉस्पेल ट्रूथ, बट व्हाट अबाउट रूल ऑफ लॉ? लेट्स एंड विद दैट। अप नेक्स्ट इज राहुल कामत विद न्यूज़ ट्रैक। स्टे विद अस।
Global ride-hailing platform Uber has announced plans to go 100% emission-free in the next decade.